Magnussen comes into the last corner, and at the end of this Grand Prix, at the first half of the season, for the 81st time, Lewis Hamilton wins in Hungary for the 7th time. His 81st career win extends his lead in the championship.
You see Lewis winning in Hungary.
Hamilton extends his championship advantage to 62 points as Formula One heads to its summer break. What a Hungarian Grand Prix, almost matching what Michael Schumacher did in 1998. This was the 4th greatest Formula One race in a row. What a Hungarian Grand Prix. So we move away from the best race ever in Germany and move on round 12, the last race before the summer break, the Hungarian Grand Prix at Budapest. This circuit has been on the calendar since 1986, only seen moderate track changes. It's virtually the same as what we originally raced on. Monaco without the barriers, 3 sectors tight and twisty, and boy does it give us close racing. We come here as round 12 of the season. Following this, we have the summer break before the Belgian Grand Prix and Italian Grand Prix serve as the final 2 races on the European stop before the flyaways begin in Singapore, Russia, Japan, the Americas in Mexico, United States and Brazil, and the season rounds out in Abu Dhabi on the 1st of December. In the Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton leads the way on 225 points, Valtteri Bottas has 184, and Verstappen now in 3rd on 162 points after 2 wins in the last 3 races. Vettel and Leclerc are now just 21 points separated from 4th and 5th. Gasly 6th, Sainz 7th, Kvyat 8th, 9th for Raikkonen and 10th for Lando Norris. And looking further down, the only driver without a point in the current championship is George Russell in 20th. In the Constructors' Championship, well, that's Mercedes dominant, 409 points to Ferrari on 261. Red Bull on 217. They're now battling for 2nd overall. McLaren took a big chunk last time out, 4th in the Constructors' Championship, but Toro Rosso coming in hot. They're in a battle with Renault for 6th place, Racing Point joining the battle. Haas the level with Alfa Romeo in 8th place on 26. But now, finally, it's 1 point on the board for Williams, thanks to a penalty for the 2 Alfa Romeos last time out and Robbie Kubica. Finally, all the teams have points and not all the drivers. Welcome to the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. Hello everybody and welcome to the Hungarian Grand Prix podcast for what is round 12 of the 2019 season. And as Formula One heads on into its summer break, we reflect on the 4th race in a row where we've had great Formula One action. Not taking away that Formula One still has problems, but still it was a great motor race. Not really in the first half, but as soon as Hamilton and Mercedes decided to go for another strategy, it became a great race as he hunted down race leader Max Verstappen, took it over the lead of the race with just 3 laps to go. It was a masterclass from Mercedes. But it all started on Friday with the first 2 practice sessions, and it all looked to be going Mercedes' way. Ferrari seemed to be off the pace, and Red Bull again seemed to be continuing from their German Grand Prix dominance. Let's take a look, first of all, at what happened in free practice 1. Let's get on to free practice 1 then, and in the morning session, they say the best way to get over a disappointment is to forget about it and come back stronger next time around, and that's exactly what Mercedes did. Lewis Hamilton topped the time sheets on a 117.233. Max Verstappen went into 2nd, Vettel was 3rd, Gasly was 4th, and 5th place for Kevin Magnussen. An interesting session as the 5-time world champion led the rain-hit first part of free practice. He just had 2 points coming away from the German Grand Prix after feeling unwell, but he said he's feeling much better this weekend and had a busy session, completing the most laps of anybody with 41 and clocked, as I said, a 117.233. to go top of the board. Quicker than Verstappen as well, the winner of the last 2 of the 3 Grand Prix. That is an interesting thing, isn't it? Red Bull have won 2 of the last 3 Grand Prix. Hamilton, of course, only winning at the British Grand Prix. Incredibly close between Ferrari and Red Bull. Vettel was just 1/1000th of a second slower than Verstappen in 3rd place. Not bad. The session was disrupted by light rain throughout, but the teams were able to get a decent amount of dry weather running in throughout the first half of the 90 minutes. There's a few racing pigeons alongside as well. The presenting area. Red Bull's Pierre Gasly bounced back from his frustrating retirement in Germany in 4th. He was 5/10 off the pace and around 3/10 slower than more decorated teammate of Max Verstappen. Kevin Magnussen running the upgraded spec Haas as they continue to try and find out which is best between Australia and the more recent spec. Back-to-back testing with him and Grosjean, but Magnussen was 5th. Leclerc failed to get a tiny lap under his belt, was 6th. Hülkenberg and the McLaren duo of Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz and Alfa Romeo's Kimi Raikkonen completed the top 10. Frustrating for Valtteri Bottas though, he had a problem as his engine hit trouble on his first flying lap. He didn't actually get any flying lap in at all because he had to come back into the pit lane. They detected a misfire throughout that session. They opted to change his power unit with one already in the pool to allow the team more time to trace the problem. Racing Point, who updated their car for the 2nd successive race after getting the points in 4th place last time out, challenging session as well for them. Stroll and Perez spins at the same place before continuing. It was a short session, but short and sweet to the point. Let's take a look at the times then for free practice 1. So Lewis Hamilton tops the first practice session on 1:17.233. Max Verstappen in 2nd on a 1:17.398. Sebastian Vettel 3rd at 1:17.399. Pierre Gasly 4th at 1:17.682. And Kevin Magnussen in 5th at 1:17.942. That's followed by Charles Leclerc 6th at 1:18.188. Nico Hülkenberg is 7th at 1:18.417. Lando Norris is 8th on a 1:18.531. Carlos Sainz 9th at 1:18.702. And Kimi Raikkonen rounding out the top 10 on 1:18.787. Danny Ricciardo is 11th on a 1:18.894. Romain Grosjean is 12th on a 1:18.937. Followed by Danny Kvyat 13th at 1:18.982. Alexander Albon 14th at 1:19.223. Sergio Perez 15th on a 1:19.325. Antonio Giovinazzi is 16th at 1:19.488. George Russell 17th at 1:19.649. Lance Stroll 18th at 1:19.722. Robert Kubica is 19th on a 1:20.322. Valtteri Bottas 20th, just 2 laps, but no representative time on the board. So Lewis Hamilton topped the first practice session from Verstappen and Vettel. So it was Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari in the morning. However, we all knew it was going to be the afternoon session of free practice 2 that gave us the key to what the weekend would look like. So let's take a look at what happened at the Hungarian Grand Prix in the second practice session. And let's move straight on to the free practice 2 report. And damp and drizzly. That was a fair summary of the conditions that hit the drivers as we came into second practice session at the Hungarian Grand Prix. But it was Red Bull's Pierre Gasly who topped the timesheets with a Red Bull 1-2. Max Verstappen was 2nd. Lewis Hamilton was in 3rd place. Valtteri Bottas 4th and Danny Ricciardo rounded out the top 5. Leading times set in the first half hour of the session, after which slick tyres weren't actually possible due to the amount of water that was on the track. There was little for teams to do, and mainly they just stayed in the garage for about 45 minutes of the 90. The man to complete the least distance, just 2 laps, was Alexander Albon. Crashed 5 minutes into the session, out of the last corner, put both his front wheels onto the grass, span round and into the wall, and the car jumping back violently. He was taken to the medical centre but was released with no problems, which is lucky to see. But the red flag came out and the track was a washout. Charles Leclerc, P7, Vettel was down in 13th due to the conditions. Not really a representative session, but let's take a look at the times for free practice 2 nonetheless. So Pierre Gasly tops the second practice session at 1:17.854. Max Verstappen is second on 1:17.909. Lewis Hamilton third on 1:17.995. That's then followed by Valtteri Bottas fourth on a 1:18.184. Daniel Ricciardo rounds out the top five on 1:18.597. Kimi Raikkonen sixth on 1:18.682. Charles Leclerc seventh on 1:18.852. Nico Hülkenberg is 8th on 1:18.892. That's followed by Antonio Giovinazzi 9th on 1:18.909. And Danny Kvyat in the top 10 on a 1:18.957. Romain Grosjean is 11th on 1:19.149. Kevin Magnussen 12th on a 1:19.178. Sebastian Vettel 13th on 1:19.254. Carlos Sainz 14th on a 1:19.398. Sergio Perez is 15th on 1:19.721. Lance Stroll 16th on 1:19.774. George Russell is 17th at 1:19.889, Lando Norris 18th at 1:24.01, Bobby Kubica 19th at 1:24.9, and Alexander Albon just 2 laps, but like Valtteri Bottas in the morning, completing no representative lap time. Free practice 2, heavily rain affected, the times were set in the first half hour. Pierre Gasly, fastest for Red Bull for the first time. Not a bad achievement overall, considering he's got his drive on the line. We predicted in the German Grand Prix. How long has he got left on his contract? Well, another poor Grand Prix for him. Might just see Alexander Albon or Danny Kvyat take over his spot. At the current time of recording, it's no word, and Red Bull seem likely to retain him for the remainder of the season. However, I still predict that they might swap him over the summer break to allow their new driver chance to have a updated car and get used to it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. However, it was Gasly Verstappen, so Red Bull 1-2 on Friday. But what would it be when the sun came out on Saturday morning? Here's what happened in the third practice session. Finally, the sun came out for the third practice session at the Hungarian on Saturday morning, and the top 3 separated by less than a tenth of a second. Lewis Hamilton was on top. Between him, second place was Max Verstappen, third for Sebastian Vettel, fourth for Bottas, and fifth for Leclerc. Bottas in the sister Mercedes just 2 tenths down on Hamilton's track record of a 1:16.084, just ahead of Charles Leclerc. Pierre Gasly was a further 3 tenths back. Lando Norris, an impressive best of the rest for McLaren, Alfa Romeo, and Raikkonen separating him from teammate Carlos Sainz. In the times, the Haas of Kevin Magnussen edging Romain Grosjean out to complete the top 10. Out of the damp conditions on Friday, the teams were all playing catch-up with qualifying and the race preparations. It didn't help that FP3 was reduced to just 50 minutes. The start was delayed due to necessary having to put oil repellent down at turn 4 after a dramatic engine failure in the morning's Formula 2 support race. It made for a hectic final practice, an all-in-one which the track got quicker and quicker as the cars cleaned up the cement dust left at the start of the session. In the lower half of the pack, it was a low-key showing from Renault and Toro Rosso. Hülkenberg and Ricciardo 13th and 16th. Kvyat and Albon, however, in the Toro Rossos, 12th and 17th. Williams' improvements continued. However, it was only George Russell beating Lance Stroll to finish 19th, 2 seconds off of Hamilton's time. Everyone played catch-up in FP3, but it was Lewis Hamilton who was fastest, all separated by less than a tenth of a second. Let's take a look at the times then from free practice 3. So Lewis Hamilton is fastest in the third practice session on a 1:16.084. Max Verstappen second on 1:16.097. Sebastian Vettel third on 1:16.166. Valtteri Bottas is fourth on 1:16.355. Charles Leclerc fifth on a 1:16.392. Pierre Gasly is sixth on 1:16.684. Lando Norris seventh on 1:16.774. Kimi Raikkonen is eighth on a 1:17.216. Carlos Sainz 9th on 1:17.217, and Kevin Magnussen rounds out the top 10 on a 1:17.230. Romain Grosjean 11th on 1:17.293, Danny Kvyat 12th on a 1:17.432, Nico Hülkenberg 13th on 1:17.667, Sergio Perez 14th on a 1:17.670, Antonio Giovinazzi 15th on 1:17.929, Daniel Ricciardo is 16th on a 1:17.962, Alexander Albon 17th on a 1:18.024, George Russell 18th, the 1:18.072, Lance Stroll 19th, the 1:18.534, and Robin Kubica 20th on a 1:18.709. Mercedes back on top, Hamilton, Verstappen, Vettel, exactly the same as what it was in free practice 1. An interesting turn of events, but all eyes were on qualifying because Mercedes were only just ahead because less than a tenth of a second separated Hamilton, Verstappen and Vettel in FP3. So could Vettel take pole? Could Verstappen take his first ever pole? Or will Lewis keep his dominance of what seems to be an all-brilliant pole record this year? Well, let's find out. Here's what happened in qualifying. Let's start then, as ever, with the first part of qualifying in our qualifying review. And in Q1, Leclerc gets through, but he did hit the barrier. Hopes were high after an exciting third practice session, which saw the top three separated by less than a tenth of a second. However, as we came in, Verstappen set a blistering place, ending just 0.3 quicker than anybody else. Bottas was his nearest challenger than the Finn, doing a couple of laps before setting in his best lap time of the session. Leclerc looked pretty handy as well in the Ferrari and set a time comfortably enough to get him into Q2, but lost out of the final corner, went in backwards and hit the rear wing, destroying it, which means he took no further part in Q1, but did get through to Q2, and the Ferrari were able to repair the rear of the car. Nico Hülkenberg was eliminated as he was 15th and then down to 16th and then up again to 15th and got through. Less than a tenth of a second for Renault, he got through as well. Ferrari, as they were repairing the car, but the biggest surprise was out on the track that George Russell was flying. The Williams driver looking set to make a shock Q2 appearance for the first time, but the quicker cars behind him meant that he was dropped out of the session. Great though from George Russell, and a shot for Williams that they might just be able to put on the right pace. Out in the first part of qualifying where Russell, Perez, Ricciardo, Stroll and Kubica. However, replay showed Ricciardo caught traffic on his final flying lap, and the Australian was battling for clean air with Sergio Perez. Alfa Romeo's Giovinazzi was handed a 3-place grid penalty as well, post-session for impeding Lance Stroll. Let's go on then to qualifying 2. On to qualifying 2 then, and it was an interesting session as Hamilton and Verstappen tightly matched throughout. Medium tyres were the compound of choice for the front runners of the Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, with Hamilton setting the early pace as Mercedes appeared to have turned their engines up. More impressive speed in their quick first sector, and they were quicker than Ferraris as well, who have owned Sector 1 so far this weekend. Verstappen put Red Bull second, only a few thousandths of a second adrift. Bottas less than a tenth further back as well. Leclerc slots into fourth. Ferrari challenging weekend so far for them as well, and of course Leclerc back in the session after he's damaged his front wing. Vettel was fifth. Norris looked mighty in the final part of the session, outpaced Pierre Gasly to go sixth on soft compound tyres. Red Bull sent Gasly back out another set of mediums, but he only improved fractionally. It was just jumped both by Sainz and Grosjean. Fortunately though, he scrapped through in 9th place. Grosjean looked strong with his teammate Kevin Magnussen running the updated spec down in 15th though and out of the session. So knocked out was Hülkenberg, Albon, Kvyat, Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen. On to the third part of qualifying then, and Verstappen finally gets his first pole position, equaling a record set by Jackie Stewart of having 7 Grand Prix victories before taking his first pole position. Now, he's won 2 of the last 3 Grand Prix. If he wins today, he brings himself right back into title contention. Imagine that. That came out of absolutely nowhere, didn't it? Bottas, who had very little running though, after an engine issue in the first practice, sprung a surprise as he pipped Hamilton as the first runs to go top of the pile, but Verstappen went quickest by nearly 0.2 of a second. There was tension in the closing stages of the session as Leclerc lit up the timesheets and he was on Verstappen's leading time after the first 2 sectors, but as happened all weekend, the Scuderia lost loads of time in the low speed third and final sector of the track. Largely irrelevant though, because Verstappen was absolutely on it throughout and was not to be denied a first career pole pole position, and he took it by nearly 0.2 of a second. Not bad at all, but Bottas pushed hard through, and he was second overall, and Hamilton failing to make the front row, and only the second time this year. Leclerc 4th place when he was out-qualified. Vettel again for the 5th race in a row. Gasly ended up 0.8 slower, and then teammate Verstappen in 6th. Norris secured his 5th top 8 start in 6 races, both McLarens making it into the top 8 for only the second time this year. When it all started, the consecutive top 10 start for Romain Grosjean as well, the second consecutive back-to-back for Grosjean. But the day belonged to Max Verstappen as well, the 4th youngest pole sitter in the history of Formula 1. As I said, equaling Jackie Stewart's record of 7 wins before pole position. It's a strong chance of him winning tomorrow, as this place is Monaco without the barriers. It's very much a one-track race, and overtaking is very difficult as well. So, it looks to be on Verstappen's guard. Let's take a look at the grid then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So for the first time in his career, Max Verstappen is on pole position alongside Valtteri Bottas on row 1. Row 2, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Row 3, Sebastian Vettel and Pierre Gasly. Row 4, Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz. And row 5, Romain Grosjean and Kimi Räikkönen rounding out the top 10. Row 6, Nico Hülkenberg and Alexander Albon. Row 7, Danica Kvyat and Kevin Magnussen. Row number 8 sees George Russell and Sergio Perez. Row 9, Antonio Giovinazzi with a 3-place grid penalty for impeding another driver. He's alongside Daniel Ricciardo. And the last row of the grid, row 10, sees Lance Stroll alongside Robert Kubica. Max Verstappen on pole position then for the Grand Prix of Hungary. For the first ever time, he becomes our 100th different pole sitter as well in the 70th season of Formula 1. Now, the Hungarian Grand Prix, it was a tale very much of two halves. Your commentary team, once again, alongside me, Joshua Birch in the commentary box. We had our pit reporter, Ian Birch, and joining us for this round is our co-commentator of Megan Birch. Let's take a look. The last race before the summer break is what happened at round 12, the Hungarian Grand Prix.
The Hungarian Grand Prix, race 12, lap 1.
Are you ready? Because the lights are on. For one more time before the summer break, all 5 lights are on. Action at Budapest. Good start from Verstappen. It's a good start from Hamilton. Bottas is now been lagged behind. Hamilton's going to the outside. It's 3 abreast into turn 1. Bottas locks up. Hamilton has to take avoiding action. That's going to allow Charles Leclerc to have a little bit of a move up into 3rd place. But still, amazingly, Verstappen leads the way as they head into turn 2. Another lock up. The two Mercedes are side by side. Hamilton's got the inside line now, and he's going to have to move back. But they touched for sure, and that's put Bottas back. And here comes Charles Leclerc right up into 3rd position now, and Bottas from 2nd to 4th. He might even go down to 5th. Megan, a terrible start from Bottas.
For a great start from our race leader, Max Verstappen. He got away all the time because he just managed to get away and just not worry about both the Mercedes behind him battling it away.
And as we see, Sebastian Vettel is caught up now behind Valtteri Bottas. This is the contact, Megan. Look, Bottas locks up. Hamilton sends it right round the outside, but look at this. It's going to be fractional contact there, and it's always, that was awfully close not to give Lewis Hamilton a puncture.
He almost spun it right round.
Yes.
Lap 2.
Verstappen leads from Hamilton, Leclerc, Bottas and Vettel is right at the back of Bottas. His front wing seems to be shaking a little bit and sparking on the floor. Vettel goes right round the outside of Bottas into turn 1. Bottas, though, should get the drive down towards turn 2, but it doesn't seem like he's going to have that. Look at the oscillation on the front wing there of Valtteri Bottas. That is him done.
Replay.
Race start, Megan, take us through it. Race start, take us through it.
So Verstappen does a really quick move and goes in front of, I think it was Hamilton. So then it cuts Hamilton to have to go into Bottas. So then they would go against each other, which would also make the two Ferraris behind a bit cranky. And then the other teammates behind a little cranky as well.
Bottas locks up, and then Hamilton has to force round the outside, and there is the light contact, just the lightest of kisses, forces Bottas onto the AstroTurf. Then, there's more contact between him and Vettel. Sorry, Leclerc didn't spot that
originally, did we?
Lap 18.
And on the inside, Kvyat on Albon.
Don't do it.
They nearly made contact. Albon gets the comeback, but Kvyat has the DRS. Kvyat has the inside line to turn 2. Ever so close, these two, and Albon's going to hold him around the outside. They're going to touch. They nearly. How did they not touch? They might still. Coming into turn 3 and 4. They're sideways as they head up. Albon ahead and keeps ahead. Kvyat side by side. This is off the track. Goes Albon and has to back out. Kvyat goes through.
Is it just me, or has Kvyat got a bit more dangerous with driving as it's
Ever since he got that podium, he certainly is racing.
It's asleep.
It's a sleep deprivation. Yeah. That was bonkers. The two Toro Rossos side by side.
You try getting too
for the first 5 corners. Look at this on the inside. Dad.
That's what I want.
Yes, but just like Lewis and Valtteri when they did it a few weeks ago, if you look at this replay, they always are at least 1.5 to 2 foot apart from each other.
Yeah.
That's why they were both forced off at different bits, because they were respecting each other's space.
I think
right?
they're going to go back and say, I love that, and so did I.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
That's racing. That's what we want to see.
It's like, what the heck?
Megan, over to you.
Anyway, what I've been noticing, look at the difference between Vettel and Sainz right now. Look at the speed, look at the gap. Look at what they are matching.
They're matching in sector times, but they've got a 20-second gap between them. That is quite interesting.
And he's only going 2 kilometres slower than him.
And they're matching in all the sector times. That is quite interesting.
And yet there's a 20-second gap.
What happened?
When were what tyre? What's the age of both of them's tyres?
Same age.
Vettel's on the medium compound that have done 17 laps. Sainz is on the soft compound and done 17 laps.
That shouldn't be happening. It was either a glitch or something's wrong with Sainz's car.
Well, it is quite big because if they're both matching in sector times and the tyres are at the same temperature, the tyre wear is about the same. So I can't understand, and we're only 20 laps in, so I can't understand why that gap has happened.
Lap 26.
Hamilton leads the Hungarian Grand Prix now as well.
Luckily, Verstappen can get past because Leclerc is...
Yeah, he's going for the hammer time.
Yeah, so Hamilton's going for the hammer time as Verstappen pits for hard compound tyres. He's good now.
Oh, this could be good for Verstappen because hammer time will stress the tyres out just a little bit, so then he'll have to come in to change his tyres, so then Verstappen will be back.
You're absolutely right, because now he's going to be wearing his tyres out. If they say he can go longer, how much longer can they go into this pressure?
He's just giving Verstappen the lead.
Lap 32.
Hamilton pits for hard compound tyres. That looked like a clean stop. I'm not too sure. 4 seconds? 4 seconds? That was a slow stop. What happened? And look at that.
Come on.
Verstappen takes the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix.
What did I predict? And now Hamilton
is down to second. He's got plenty of time to Vettel.
Yeah, but I think they had to have a look at that brake disc.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's why they had to look at the brake disc. I'd love to see a replay of that pit stop because we came to it too late. But Verstappen leads the Hungarian Grand Prix. Hamilton is 6 seconds back. They're both good to the end of the race. We've got a race on here.
You made a mistake.
Here's the pit stop. Oh, it was a bit, the wheel came off a bit, it was a bit loose, wasn't it? And you saw the brake dust was almost clogging it up.
Lap 33.
Oh, good afternoon to everyone. Look at that, Lando Norris right around the outside of Magnussen. They're going to make contact. How did they not touch there?
They did for wheels.
I think they did touch. Lando gets ahead. Magnussen wants to come back.
Lap 38.
I'm going to interrupt myself to bring you this. The top two are side by side. Look at the close. This is it. Hamilton's got the DRS detection there. He's going to go for the move down towards turn 1. Keep your fingers crossed, everybody. This could end in tears, or it could end with a brilliant move. Down to turn 1. Hamilton has to pull to the inside line. Ricciardo's in the way of it as well. Hamilton's still going to try and send it around the outside. Verstappen leads the way. And Ricciardo's looking at this saying, this could have been me. As Hamilton tries to pull around the outside in turn 2. Verstappen holds the position though and says, no thank you, not today, Sonny Jim. And Hamilton's going to cut back up the hill towards turn 4. He can't make a move into turn 4 unless you're Lewis Hamilton side by side. What a move! But off the track, and Verstappen takes the lead. That would have been a good move if he kept on the track. Verstappen leads, Hamilton second. That was good racing.
Very good racing.
Dad.
That was good, as Martin's saying that Lewis realised that he was going to go off the track, so he eased out of it. He'll do the same next lap.
Lap 49.
Hamilton pits! Hamilton pits! Wow! This is a shocker! From second place and a second behind, Hamilton pits!
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
It is
I don't think it is a gamble. He's got a 39-second gap to Leclerc.
So
I don't think it's a gamble. He's put on the yellows.
Yeah, he's going to be quicker than Verstappen now.
Yeah.
So
He's going to be quicker with something like 20 laps to go.
So he can now close back. This is getting tasty. Wow. So that is an interesting situation.
Now Christian has to decide whether he jumps as well.
Surely he's got to. Because
Don't fall into the trap.
Because otherwise, Hamilton's going to be right on the back of Verstappen at the end of the race, and Hamilton's going to have much fresher tyres compared to Verstappen. Oh, ho, ho. Mercedes have thrown
No.
Mercedes, Dad.
They've changed the plan, haven't they? They've changed the plan.
Two-stopper.
Because the original plan, is it this overheating left brake, front brake, that's caused them to change the plan? Because the original plan was to have better tyres by the end of the race. Right, on the other set.
The quickest was a one-stopper, but now it's a two-stop race,
But look at the gap, right? It's 20 seconds between Lewis and Verstappen.
And Hamilton and Leclerc.
Christian's now
19.
having the numbers worked out. We'll have to know at the end of this lap if he's took anything out of him.
Oh.
If he has, then we've got to work out, will he reach him by the end of the race?
Lap 66.
Verstappen has got to defend with all he's got. His tyres are gone. Oh, this is tense. This is awfully tense. This place is Monaco without the barriers. It is very difficult to overtake. So Verstappen has got to defend for as much as they like. And what did he say earlier on, Dad, about how this could be a good day for Charles Leclerc? If these two take each other off, he's in the lead of the race. So bear that in mind. Down now.
But it's complete. You can see that Max's tyres haven't got anywhere near the grip that Lewis's have.
They've hit the cliff.
If he can keep Lewis behind him, he stands a chance. But
3 laps
on the long straight, I think he'll get him.
This is where I feel like Lewis is being a bit. He's leading the title.
Gonna have to do it. Here we go. Hamilton's pulling down to turn 1. Verstappen defends the inside. Hamilton pulls to the outside. The brake dust is there. He goes a little bit too deep. Verstappen will have to cut back. But Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen down to second.
Lewis.
Lap 70.
Lewis Hamilton comes into the last corner, and at the end of this Grand Prix, at the first half of the season, for the 81st time, Lewis Hamilton wins in Hungary for the 7th time. His 81st career win extends his lead in the championship.
To see Lewis winning in Hungary.
Fantastic! Max Verstappen will come home to finish in second place. Third for Sebastian Vettel. Max is second with the fastest lap bonus point as well. But it's Lewis Hamilton for the 7th time who is victorious here in Hungary.
Next race, Belgium.
Lewis Hamilton wins the Hungarian Grand Prix, then a masterclass in strategy from Mercedes, pitting him, putting on the medium tyres. Megan joins me now for the race rundown and results. Great Grand Prix, Hamilton victor, so we'll start. Lewis Hamilton, what's your rating out of 5?
5.
Nice. Max Verstappen finished in second. Pole position, dropped to second, led most of the race. Only Mercedes masterclass really cost him. Your rating?
5.
Sebastian Vettel finished in third place for Ferrari. He was 61 seconds away from Hamilton, so nearly a lap down. Rating?
4.
Fourth for Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, just behind his teammate by 4 seconds, was catching him throughout the race. Your rating?
4.
Carlos Sainz in 5th place, the highest McLaren. They've really come back, but he was a lap down. But McLaren seem to be back on form. Your rating?
5.
Nicely done. Gasly in P6 as well for Red Bull on what could be his last Grand Prix if they decide to change over, as I think they will. Your rating?
3. That just came out of nowhere.
3 for Gasly.
Yeah, I just said it automatically. I don't know why.
Kimi Raikkonen finished in 7th place for Alfa Romeo, a lap down.
Ow.
Sorry, I'd hit you with the mic there.
3.
It's 8th for Valtteri Bottas. He's one of his lowest of the year, actually. Not a great race for him. Of course, he had a DNF in Germany, but it's one of his lowest results he's actually finished. 8th place for him.
3.
That was 3, by the way. Lando Norris finished in 9th then for McLaren. Your rating?
3.
And 10th for Alexander Albon for Toro Rosso.
I'm going to say 4 because he doesn't usually get up there.
Sergio Perez finished in 11th place, a lap down. Your rating?
3.
Next up was Nico Hülkenberg for Renault in 12th place.
4.
13th for Kevin Magnussen there. Not a bad race for him, but again, Haas struggling with development. Your rating?
3 for Haas.
Oh, yeah. Danny Ricciardo finished 14th for Renault. Your rating?
4.
2 laps down. Danny Kvyat in 12th place for 15th. Your rating?
4, considering he has a lot of noise now and doesn't have much sleep.
No, with the baby. You said that during the commentary. 16th for George Russell. 2 laps down for him as well. Your rating?
3.
17th for Lance Stroll. Again, 2 laps down. A disappointing race for him where his teammate was 11th. But neither Racing Point's getting points, and that's bad news for their battle with Haas and McLaren. So Stroll 17th. Your rating?
2.
Antonio Giovinazzi is 18th for Alfa Romeo. 2 laps down. Your rating?
2.
Robert Kubica 19th. 3 laps down overall. Your rating?
2.
And Romain Grosjean was the only retirement from the Grand Prix. He's in 20th place. What's your rating?
3.
Megan, half the season done. You'll be back with us at the Belgian Grand Prix. How do you rate the season so far out of 5?
3.
Nice, I agree with you. Thank you, Megan. We'll see you in Belgium. Have a nice summer.
You too.
And Megan now leaves us. So, what a Hungarian Grand Prix it has been. 3 weeks now to wait until the next one at the Belgian Grand Prix. All the team will be back for that one as well in the end of August, beginning of September races. And it's a back-to-back one as well with the Italian Grand Prix. So, what is going to happen over the summer break? Well, usually all hell breaks loose. Let's see if it does. We'll be back 3 weeks' time for the Belgian Grand Prix on the 29th to the 1st of September. We'll be back. From us all here, though, have a nice summer. Bye for now.